life isn't what we're told it to be. I completely understand that. But for me, more of a focus of what you consume, what you take in up here, all that sort of thing is more important to me about how I control my life than paying attention to the size and shape of the earth. Do you get what I mean?
Cool.
Exactly, and why are the pyramids everywhere, not just in Egypt? Right? We only taught at school that they're in Egypt. Suddenly, you know, they're in Bosnia, they're in Brazil, they're in England,
Japan,
sea. You know, yeah.
Mexico and all that shit.
Yeah.
So this is Jack. We just had a really good conversation. Very open-minded gentleman from Slovakia, and this is Claude from Swansea. Begins with the same S, the same letter, just like Sven. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And
that's all flat.
He's on board with pretty much everything, but is suggesting that maybe it's not so important for him, at least, the shape of the Earth. Okay. And I'm sort of suggesting that maybe that is the overriding lie that we have to get our heads around. Once we understand that kind of a lot of the other stuff falls together quite nicely after that becomes more apparent because of the magnitude of it all, right? Because the school system is so involved with it. Your mum and dad thinks that, your grandparents think that, because they saw the moon landing on the television. So it must be true.
To me, I understand. Life isn't what we're told it to be. I completely understand that. But for me, more of a focus of what you consume, what you take in up here, all that sort of thing is more important to me about how I control my life than paying attention to the size and shape of the earth. Do you get what I mean?
Cool, yeah.
I believe that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Beautiful.
I already understand a lot of things that we probably do agree on.
Yeah.
But like I still don't get why the shape of the earth is important to me anyway. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
So what if I was to say that you were on a clock?
Yeah.
You were living on a clock. You could either choose to be on the outside of the clock, spinning around really fast, or the center spindle of the clock.
Yeah.
On a globe heliocentric model, you're on the outside, spinning around in a dangerous environment. On the inside, you're in a very safe central point that everything is pinned right on you. All time relies on you at the
When you say pinned right on you, like what do you mean? What was the point that you make?
Okay, well, because in the universe that we live in, none of us are important. For me, the flat Earth took me on a journey towards how it means that we are the center of the wheel.
Yeah.
It means that each of us is the hub of the wheel, rather than just a little bit of rubber on the outside of the wheel. So for me, because I was an atheist, globe believer up until the age of 47, but for me, that took me from, wow, I'm just an insignificant, to, no, this clock has got me at the center and other things around it. And that's how the universe should be arrayed, with you at the center. If you think about an orange, for example, the seeds must be in the center, with the fruit, with the water and everything around it, and then the skin protecting that. So in a natural world, we put things at the center, and I think that in an unnatural world, we say you're not at the center, you're not that important.
So are you saying once you dive into this, you're making yourself the center of
No, there's plenty of flat earthers who don't accept what I've just said to you.
Yeah.
Plenty.
You do for a while, but you go further, back and forth.
Yeah, flat earth is just the front door. You see, for me, I say to people, if you've been playing chess or football on a sphere, you're going to have to take all your chess pieces off and teach them how to play on a flat earth. And so, as you say, you've got to guard what comes into your mind and into your eyes and so on. And if I've allowed poison in, some lie, then that lie is there still poisoning me. And so until you remove the cancer, until you remove that little nugget of lie, then in some way, even as wise a guy as you already are and spiritually you're aware and alert, it's obviously going to have some toxic effect within your system, because there's a little nugget of poison that the system has still got in there. Because if you can't get to the point where you go, shit, this entire system is railed against me ever knowing the truth of who I am, then perhaps you won't be able to put it in its right place and have yourself in the center. Like I was in South Africa for a year last year, and I was talking to the Africans about, you're meant to, God creates you, you create government. Now government is basically telling you what to do and how to think. And that's a long, slow process. It didn't happen overnight that government just stepped into the natural world and said, right, penalties for doing this, fines for doing that, charges for doing that. You must fill this in 14 days. No, that's been a slow burn for the last 100 years.
But in a way, government, as long as there's been groups of people, there becomes a hierarchy, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So it's almost like government has always been a thing, just in different forms. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, government, unfortunately, if it was a hierarchy of living men and women, then that would be one thing. And as long as they gave you the truth and didn't lie to you, you would accept their kind of making decisions on your behalf. And that's how I used to think, you know. Now I realize that, well, one, they have lied to me, and two, it's not a living entity. It's a corporation.
Yeah.
The government
I
is
get that. Control, money, etc.
Well, it's a dead thing, and it doesn't really care about you. Now, what happens in a world in which you've got 10 puppies and you put, say, 3 or 4 puppies worth of food in a cage every day? Those puppies will start to tear at each other. There will be a hierarchy within that, and they will be pretty angry dogs, and they will guard their place jealously, and all that sort of stuff. Well, if for 3 or 4 generations, 5 generations, we've been put in the cage and starved, then yes, of course we're going to be, not you necessarily, but as a general thing, we're going to go to war with each other, we're going to step on our brother, we're going to sell them poison because I can make extra commission. You know, you won't care about those things. You might throw dirt down on the, you know, throw some plastic in amongst the fish and whatnot. You know, you do these things because you wouldn't really care much about the whole. For me, it's about caring about yourself first as the spindle, because if the spindle's off, then the clock's not going to tell the time right. But if your spindle is right, then the world around you will come into its own best balance.
So are you saying then once, because I think I can get down with what you're saying, if just like saying that you've got yourself right up here, sort of mind, body and soul, then everything around you kind of works out. Am I right?
That's right, in balance.
So in that case then, what is with the focus of getting all this information out here to all these other people, if providing you've got yourself right in the way that you are, you know, happy and living your best life, why are you out here trying to get all this information into everyone else's heads?
You ever hear of a guy called Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, he knew some stuff. He went out into
You're not going to tell me you're the second coming now, you dude?
No, I think we're all
I'm only
Jesus.
joking, man.
I think we're all Jesus when it comes down to it. But I think what
made in man's made in
God's image.
Yeah, is that what you're saying?
And the light of God or whatever, the spark, the scintilla that is the Creator rests inside you like a little torch. You know, like a little Superman charge thing, and it's just waiting to be lifted off, or taken care of, or you know, given its right place. So where was I going with that? Where was I going to tell you?
I feel like I can agree. I think what you just said, I get what you're saying there. If you're talking about sort of a level of spirituality here, man, and what I get is, say you eat right, you eat healthy, you've got good positive vibes, you're putting out, you know, the right thing, and you're taking in the right thing. You know what I mean? And you're doing the best you can to be a good person. Then fuck yeah. Like, why does whether the earth is flat affect that?
That's
you know
right.
What I mean?
Well, okay, so for me it was a groundbreaking truth. You know, when I found this in 2015, it really changed my kind of realization, because I knew about 9/11 and stuff like that, but I thought, you know, the Kennedy thing was also a bit suspect back in the day, and so on. So I knew that we weren't getting the full truth, but until I found flat Earth, I hadn't realized how much of a massive construction all of government, all of the establishment, all of that stuff is as a means of controlling. So what the point about the Jesus reference is that I think that when good men do nothing, evil prospers, and I'm required to do something. I felt compelled to get off the chair. In 2018 it was like, this is an opportunity to go and start talking to people about the flat Earth as a way to give people a good slap in the face and say, shit, look, you can measure water's level, try and find it to be curving. If you can't, come back and talk some more, because there's a lot of stuff you need to know once you realize, shit, you've been lied to about that. And so for me, having even like say the pandemic of 2020, you know, immediately I hear that I'm able to apply my own set of filters to that information rather than get caught up in that. And when it comes to raising children, like I raised my older children, completed university, but I raised them to believe they came from evolved monkeys through the Darwinian cycle, right? That's what I raised them to do. That diminishes them in my view, and I have spent the last 7 years trying to make amends for that, trying to, you know, say, hey, I was wrong about that, you know, because it weakens us. It weakens who we are.
Suppress their own way, natural way to understand. That's the worst thing to do to a child. To be able to keep themselves, understand by themselves. They ask us, they get their own opinion, like a doctor.
They have to be able to question everything. opinion, haven't they, and formulate their own
That's
opinion.
literally
For sure.
for us.
Yeah.
The brain.
I got another question. So obviously, you guys are talking about how the news people are essentially conditioned in a way, aren't they? Yo, your hair is awesome.
Look at this.
How you going? Yeah, this is my flat earth baby. There's mommy here. Mommy's here. There.
We all know water doesn't curve. We all know we can see further.
Speaking of baby, I got to get back to my man, but basically, quick question.
Yeah.
So, the news,
Yeah.
Obviously, people are constantly filtered into this society where they go to school, they go to education, they get their job, and they retire for 10, 20 years, and then they die. You know, just the mainstream
Yeah,
life.
that way,
like,
yeah.
Essentially, it's brainwashing.
Yeah.
When you've spent 10 years just researching flat Earth, are you not essentially doing the same thing, but just on that, like you're brainwashing yourself towards another subject?
Yeah, well, I spent about a year and a half studying flat Earth and the globe model, but I left that all behind.
But I just hope that you do maintain that open mind about everything, innit? So if someone did disprove, you would still be like, oh, okay, cool, I'll move on with my life in this other direction now.
Yeah, they can
You know
they could get 2 Bitcoin very easily. So there's a guy in America offering 2 Bitcoin to anyone who can prove curvature.
Is it? Nice.
And he's had that offer for at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Money's still in the bank.
Still haven't happened, man. Sick guy.
You know, and he's put it out there on every chat show he can get on, man.
Yeah.
I'll offer this money up. I've got 2 Bitcoins here.
Nice.
You know, and so it can't be found. You know, but yeah, I mean, look, the whole way along this, there's various models of how the flat Earth might work. I've had to let go as well because I'm like, no, I can't support that with what I'm seeing. There's one for you. You know, when you look at the moon over the course of 6 or 8 hours, you'll notice it actually rolls like a coin in the sky.
Okay.
Clockwise.
Yeah.
South Africa, anti-clockwise.
Okay.
In the southern hemisphere, it blew my mind last year. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
quite
It's
trippy, man.
anti-clockwise. I can't explain that on any model that I know of.
Yeah.
I talk in terms of electromagnetic theory. I'll give you a flyer before you run it.
Yeah, please.
And that's where I'm at. I think we live in an electromagnetic world. Newtonianism
I can get
is
that with that
part
one.
of the lie. That it's all newtons and atoms and so on. We've never seen an atom.
Oh, you don't believe in the atoms?
The atom we've never seen.
But I guess you believe in, like, well, obviously vibration exists, but are you saying that we're all,
It's all frequency.
yeah? Does that frequency not make up the atoms? Is it just even deeper than the atom is the frequency? Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, I've got a theory that the only way you can get light to form matter, because frequency and light is what we are, and the only way you can get light to come to matter is to take it through a black hole, because a black hole has super dense, and I think that we might be standing on a black hole, because the only way that light can come to this level of density and be hard and material and 666 is having come through a black hole. So that's my theory. No other flat earth people will say that. This is my own science. I went and studied some quantum stuff, and I've been doing a lot more research since I left flat earth. I left flat earth in 2017. I've done enough of it, but it is a big gateway kind of thing that I can say. Water's not curving. We're not moving. These are things that we can test ourselves. Once you get over that, then there's some interesting stuff. Let me give you a thing on electromagnetic. There we go.
Good friend, get make a move. I got my newborn baby at home, man. So I'm gonna
Cool.
go
My subscribers are going to enjoy me having spoken to you. You're a good
Oh,
looking young
bro.
man.
Thanks,
very
man.
intelligent.
Thank you,
Nice
man.
to
I
meet
look
you.
forward to seeing the footage.
Cool.
a
Well,
good
you'll
one.
find my link on there.
And you,
Through my website.
Awesome. Enjoy your day, guys.
Thanks.
Keep,
Lovely to meet you.
Thanks for stopping by.
yeah, thank you. Keep talking and doing your thing. innit?
You too, mate. Stay
Farewell.
true to yourself. That's the main thing.
Farewell.
Right, mate.
In terms of our understanding of the universe.
And it's stuck to me, to be fair.
I didn't. Oh, in the bag.
Are you guys doing the coin test?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
When did you have it done?
Magnet.
2 months ago.
Oh no, that's too long. It's going to be straight away.
Oh, I literally had mine like a week ago.
Why does that matter though?
Yeah.
Why does it matter? Like,
Why
how
I think
does it
because I'm not saying I've taken taxis in South Africa with guys on a few occasions where they said, yeah, it's worked for me. But I've never seen it done myself.
Yeah, I don't think it works.
However, if it is real,
Yeah.
then it would have to be some sort of something that was in the dose, right? And it would only be in that area for a week or two.
So
before
you're
you
saying the
got
body
to
breaks it down?
Pardon me.
You're saying the body breaks it down?
I would imagine that, yeah, that's what I'd think, right, logically. But I've never seen it. I've seen a video of it, but I can't say they didn't put glue on their
Yeah, I get that,
skin,
but like,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah, so
saying
you
it's,
don't know if it's
it's
real.
legit.
That's why I bought some the other day to try it myself, to
Yeah,
prove
yeah,
it to myself.
Yeah.
I've never come across anyone. who's
I'm
ever
not.
done.
I'm not saying legit, but I'll give you guys, because you're young, I'll give you a message that the life message should be: is this more natural or less natural? This thing that I'm doing.
I just
Whatever
wanna
thing you do.
not kill people, to be honest. Like, I don't want to kill people who are vulnerable. Like, I've got family who are vulnerable, and if I didn't get the jab, there's a very high chance that they would have got it from me.
Well,
and
for a
then-
moment I thought you were a sniper. You kill people?
No.
No, you know what? This is the uncomfortable truth: is that we can't find any evidence of a young lady like you going home, making granny sick, and then she died. See, Granny would have got sick of the flu every year or every second year because she's old, and that's what happens, right? It's called germ theory because we can't take a sick person and walk them through a room of healthy people and make them sick.
Okay, my nan at the moment, she's had the flu, so like every year she's had the flu. She's never had a jab for it. Last week was literally in hospital on like ventilators, not able to breathe because she literally could not. Like it was completely different. They're both vaccinations.
Have you considered? My mother-in-law went into hospital with edema. Her legs were all swelling. She couldn't breathe, and she was in hospital only for a week. Actually, a friend of mine who was also my age, and a week later he was in hospital for about 6 weeks, very, very, very sick. There's a website called VAES in this country, and it's all over the world, where people in their millions are reporting. When I was in South Africa last year, I met a coroner who said I had 11 deaths from in 1 week. 2 of them died within minutes of the
Okay, there's
the card scheme on our government's website.
there's 11 deaths in a week from the vaccine. There's millions around the world from the actual COVID. Yeah. And also with any vaccine, it's always going to be like people who are allergic to it, have issues with it. It's always going to be.
But before, because I know what I'm going to say next is going to sound a little upsetting to you. But before I say that, I say that we are natural beings, and so our health should be predicated on natural sources. So our fruit, our vegetables, our water. These are things that are most important. Our medicine should really come from nature, because whatever.
Then how come before all this?
Yeah, we were
there
like
were
lived
so
to
many
20.
people dying?
We lived to 20. We didn't live to like 80 back then, did we?
Yeah.
You got evidence of that? Or
Carbon dating and all the fossils that we're finding in humans.
So I do a lot of research on old churches and stuff like that, and I find lots of people died in the 1700s at the age of 90 and so on. So I also used to believe that we now live younger, we die younger, and we're only staying alive longer thanks to modern medicine. That couldn't be
okay, you can say that, but like, where's that?
But then you can also argue that, like, when you were younger, not many babies used to live past 1.
Where?
But now they get jabs when they're younger, so that's why population's increasing all the time.
That's one way of looking at it. I think there's for me, there's not a good evidence of that. My little 5-year-old boy who was running here a moment ago, he's never had a needle in his body, never.
Do you think he's going to choose to do that when he is old enough?
Yes.
You think he will?
Yes, because you see, remember, before there was pharmaceutical companies, there was only fruit. There was only cannabis, there was only natural echinacea, there was only natural plants as medicine. That's all there was. That's what this creator intended, the creator of this earth, which, by the way, I think is you. I think each of us is the creator in tiny form, like the cell of an orange, no less orange than the whole orange, but it's tiny.
Well, it is less, it's just the DNA is the same.
What, the orange?
Yeah.
No, you're not carrying my example. My example is that the tiniest little cell inside of the orange is pure orange. Yeah, it's perfect orange. It's only a tiny little droplet. But it's still orange, even though it's not as big as the whole thing. Well, I think that's what we are. I think we are God experiencing God's self in the form of tiny, like the Russian nested dolls. The little doll, the 7th doll in the middle, that's each of us. And the higher self is the one above that. And God is 7 levels up at the big doll.
It's cool. I like that.
That's how I want to offer you that, because I believe we are natural and we are meant to be moving more towards natural ways of living rather than unnatural ways of living. Chemicals, artificial body parts, implants into the brain, all this sort of things come. Neuralink, Elon Musk, take us to Mars, find aliens, all this sort of stuff that says you're not that special, that your body that wasn't created perfect like it is, that your immune system wasn't created perfect. Yes, it becomes compromised. Now you can become immunocompromised simply by never coming into contact with germs. Your body is just like your skin. If your skin never gets in the sun, on a very hot day you will burn because it's not adapted to that. And that's what's happening with children now. We're sterilizing everything in their world so they never get germs, their body never has to get fit.
I understand the fact that, because obviously, sterilizing it, then they don't have the antibodies to then fight the disease when they get them.
Natural antibodies.
But that's what a vaccine is. It's just that, but putting it into your body so it's more effective, rather than making them get a disease.
Oh, we just got shat on by a bird. That's good luck, What was that?
Hold that.
What's so wet?
It's on your head.
Yeah, it's on the hat.
It's good luck.
It's okay. I got it on my hair.
Yeah, I got it on my hair.
Oh well.
That's great. How often does that happen? See, nature just shat on us for wanting to deny nature. Yeah. See, I don't think that we can pass viruses to each other. A virus is your own body's detoxifying.
So do people like pathogens
did you do
and stuff like that?
Did you do like
pathogens? Yeah, and germs. Yeah, and we can catch a cold, but we can't catch a flu. We get flu, and the flu you get is because you and your friends have been partying.
Yeah.
Well, germs grow in all sorts of ways.
If
You've got
someone's
parasites
isolated,
and
how come
germs.
they wouldn't get it?
Sorry?
If someone's isolated, they wouldn't get it compared to if they're in like a.
I'm just gonna go check there's no poo on my hair. Is there poo on my hair?
You know what? No, you know what? I think that we call it, like I said, I don't know if I said this to you already, but germ theory is called germ theory because they can't clinically and scientifically say, let's take this sick person into a gym, into a room of fit footballers and make them sick. Can't do that.
Well, I think I'm misunderstanding like what theory is. A theory is something that's there's enough
Unproven.
evidence. It's
Unproven.
It's not already unproven. That
It is. It's accepted. What is? I know what
all the evidence goes to it.
All the evidence doesn't prove to this being a globe that we live on, right? Because
Do you believe in the flat Earth?
I believe the oceans are level. I believe that we have one
Okay.
sea level. That when you leave the west coast and go to the east coast,
Yeah.
you're going to go up 200 meters to above sea level and then descend 200 meters down to the east coast. There is only one sea level, my friend.
Then how does the world work in that case? Is there walls around it?
Then we get into also conjecture and theory. I can't say, but exactly how it works. I have to admit and be honest and say that's a theory. I think that it's an orange, a universal egg, if you like, that we're living inside of. That we're living inside of, and it has to have a container, and it has to be content. Yes, darling.
I have got something.
You're gonna have to excuse me.
Yeah, it's okay,
He's
yeah.
5 and he doesn't take no for an answer. Excuse me.
Come in the shade.
Oh, where's mommy?
Here.
Oh.